What's going on, y'all? GeoFuck, Site Perspectives. Struggle of. I'm just gonna give some of my personal experiences and what I've seen and witnessed and been through, and then just some of my own personal advice that I've learned from other people, that I've learned from being in therapy and counseling, that I've learned from life coaches, from self-help books, just sharing some stuff. First of all, what I've noticed is that it doesn't matter what your gender is, what your sexuality is. People are pretty much the same across the board. First of all, people that have grew up in narcissistic households, toxic households, dysfunctional households, traumatic households where they had a lot of traumatic experiences, you can pretty much bet your money that person is going to be emotionally unstable. And that's speaking from my own experience and seeing other people go through the same shit. Another thing, this is my opinion too. Yes, people need to have two parents in the household. Okay, people need to see a mother and a father. People need to have positive, masculine role models and positive feminine role models. People need to see masculine and feminine people interacting in a healthy, positive way. They need to see, healthy people communicating and sharing love and showing emotion and being themselves in a healthy way. I say all of this because those of us who grew up in households where you didn't have positive masculine people in your life, positive feminine people in your life, and you didn't see masculine and feminine people interacting in a healthy, positive way, well, you already know. 9 times out of 10, you're dysfunctional as hell. Okay? And when you look at the struggle of in the black community, again, most of us grew up in single-parent households. We grew up with toxic masculine folks and toxic feminine folks, people that were dysfunctional and out of control, people who were emotionally unstable and couldn't control their emotions or didn't know how to express themselves in a healthy manner, didn't really know how to communicate, don't know how to show love, don't know how to receive love. And then fast forward to now, we're adults, and a lot of us haven't been in a healthy relationship, and we wouldn't know what a healthy relationship looked like if it smacked us in the face, because we never saw it demonstrated. So, when you start looking at the people that you're attracted to, that you find yourself being in lust for and smitten over, you tend to go for the same types that you grew up around. See, we are products of our environment. And if you're growing up around dysfunction, you're probably attracted to dysfunction. Okay? I'm just saying. Now, when I say this, I'm not saying that those of us that come from single-parent households or from traumatic experiences or dysfunctional families can't find love and can't heal and unlearn toxic shit. But let's be honest. Why set you up in that to begin with? Why not start off on a positive, healthy note from the get-go so we can avoid a lot of this unnecessary trauma that we have to heal from and then having to learn how to unlearn toxic shit. You feel me? Why put ourselves in that situation to begin with is my point. Lead by example. Okay? So, on the struggle of aspect, it doesn't matter what the person's gender or sexuality is, people are pretty much the same across the board. Because what I've noticed is people don't want decent, healthy people. Not when they come from toxic, dysfunctional backgrounds, because decent, healthy people is vanilla. It's boring. It's not intriguing. It's not attractive. It's not stimulating because you only know toxic, dysfunctional, narcissistic, emotionally unavailable, manipulative ass behavior because that's what you grew up in. Whether it be your family, your friends, when you went to school, your community. A lot of our communities are big ass cesspools. I'm just going to call it for what it is. It is a cesspool of failure. But when we talk about this, it's, oh, you're hating on the black community. Oh, that's not everybody's story. But ironically enough, overwhelmingly, many of us can relate to it being a fucking cesspool. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that there isn't pockets of good and healthy and happy people, but when you look at us collectively, let's be real. Okay? Let's be real. Anyways, so healthy, positive, emotionally available, knows how to communicate, is naturally consistent. That's a turnoff to you. That's vanilla. He or she or they is not attractive to you because you want the bad nigga. You want the bad bitch. You want the person who doesn't respond to your text messages, goes weeks without communicating to you, sends mixed messages. You don't know if they like you or if they hate you. You don't know shit. You like that shit because that's what you grew up in. A lot of us grew up with emotionally unavailable parents. And it shows because we spent our entire lives people pleasing and trying to get validation outside of ourselves because our parents did not nurture us in a healthy, positive way. And it shows because those that are secure do not have to waste years going to therapy and counseling to unlearn toxic ass shit. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that those who are healthy don't go to counseling or don't have issues or don't have mental health problems, because that's kind of a human condition at this point. But overwhelmingly, you can tell who came from a healthy, positive situation. You can, and this is what, I heard this quote, I've seen this quote and saying so many times on social media, and it is, in my opinion, it is the honest truth. There's a difference between love, like people who were raised on love, and people who were raised on survival. And it's kind of safe to say for a lot of us, we were raised on survival. Because let's really be honest. In many cases, we never really received true love from our parents. Instead, we received what people like to call tough love all the time. Or inconsistent love, where you got the deadbeat, where you got the parents who are in and out of their kids' life. They can go months, years without seeing or talking to their children, and then pop up around birthdays and holidays and special occasions or just because, and think, well, I've been gone for years or months, but I love you. Here's a toy. Here's a gift. And then guess what? I'm about to disappear again. That inconsistency. All you're doing is teaching your child not to value themselves and to seek validation outside of themselves, because you did not properly teach them how to love themselves, how to nurture themselves. You didn't properly teach them how to communicate. So a lot of us have these people pleaser mentalities and ideologies and behaviors. Hence why, we always hear the saying, we want what we can't have, when in reality, you go after people who clearly don't respect you, don't care about you, don't love you. The energy is not matched. You put more and more and more into that other person while that other person takes and takes and takes, leaving your cup empty. And you can't give from an empty vessel. Sooner or later, you're going to crash and burn. And like I said, from my own personal experiences, 2018, I crashed and burned. I had to spend the entire 2019, going to therapy, healing, and counseling, meditating, life coaches, you name it, and then also if you're in counseling and therapy, you should be doing, activities, homework on how to work on your self-esteem and mirror work and cognitive therapy, just so much shit that I've had to go through because of my childhood and the upbringing that I received, and and then also the other traumatic experiences that also went along with being in my community. And I'm far from healed. I have a very long way to go, and I acknowledge that. And I really encourage other people of color, other LGBTQ plus people, other young people, other black people to really get involved in therapy, counseling. Take your mental health seriously, man. Because, man, I'm from personal experiences. If you don't, sooner or later, you will crash and burn.